here in the Russian capital. Our top story this hour, the Greek government has voted in favor of a new round of austerity cuts, securing the next multi-billion installment of cash from the EU and staving off a default. But as you can see in live pictures here from Athens, furious protesters have reacted violently to the vote, with battles between police and demonstrators continuing just meters away from the parliament there. Well, scenes from across Athens this afternoon resembled a war zone. Protesters fought with riot squads amid volleys of tear gas. Hundreds of thousands of people nationwide walked off their jobs for a two-day strike against the austerity cuts. They say drowning the country in debt at crippling interest rates has failed once, and it'll fail again. For more on what that vote meant for Greece and the EU, we can now cross line to Athens, and we're joined by financial journalist. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Kofinis. We're seeing some very disturbing. You with us there? We're seeing some very disturbing images behind you. We can see tear gas rising up. You're right in front of the parliament.
The audio is getting cut out. I can't hear. But you were saying they're disturbing images?
Just describe to us what's going on behind you.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't hear. I can't hear. The audio cut out.
One more time, Dimitris. Can you hear?
Yeah, and I can hear. I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful.
Now.
Just give us a picture of what's happening right behind you there on that central square.
Yeah, I mean, right now at this very second, what you're getting is they've cleared out Amalias, which is the street that's in the front part of Syntagma, of the Constitution Square, and the special police forces have basically tear gassed the entire area. They've been tear gassing all day. You can hear it right now going off, but. They just continue to tear gas the square itself and all around the surrounding areas. They have police in the surrounding streets that just tear gas and continuously tear gas all day long, spraying the area so that people can't come in from atop. When I actually was coming in into our hotel for the interview, I came about 700 meters away. My eyes were already beginning to tear up. So it's impossible to be outside without any mask or any kind of Malak solution or anything like that.
And yet people are continuing, in fact, to protest as we speak. Now that the parliament has approved these cuts, what's next for Greece as you see it? Are people going to continue to fight this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's only getting worse. I mean, people are getting angry. One of the things that I've noticed now is that whereas before it was just anarchists and just provocateurs, and right now what you're seeing is, yes, the anarchists and the provocateurs, but at night, last night, a lot of middle-class people, normal people, men and women of any age group were outside protesting. I'm not saying that they were specifically the ones throwing rocks, but they were supporting it. So this is not something that's just a fringe part of the society. The entire society, the vast majority of people are against these measures. So I don't see anything changing whatsoever.
With that said, tomorrow the parliament is set to vote on how to implement the sale of state assets, a sensitive issue, of course, among Greeks, as well as the tax hikes. Is that vote a foregone conclusion, do you think?
Unless something dramatic happens here. Look, the violence is so bad here that it's perfectly possible for someone to get seriously hurt or something worse, because they're throwing massive amounts of rocks. Last night, even the protesters who were throwing rocks into the police, into the special forces that were guarding the left entrance to Parliament, were having rocks thrown back at them. So there are people walking around. Anyone can get hit in the head with one of these things, and that could, for me, be the catalyst for something much greater. If something like that happens, then all bets are off. But if something like that doesn't happen, then I would expect...
How do you think this can all end? You say something bigger happening. What exactly do you mean?
Well, I mean, in Greece are very defiant people, and they're not going to stand for someone being killed in the Constitution Square or at these protests. So if someone dies, if something very tragic occurs, that's going to be a catalyst for, I think, a fall of this government. There's no way this government can withstand that sort of violence. I mean, it's already escalating now, and they seem to be completely indifferent to this reality. So, in my opinion, if something traumatic occurs, and you can hear it right now, if something traumatic occurs, then all bets are off. If something doesn't occur by tomorrow, then I would expect the vote to be a foregone conclusion. Because this was the more important vote. The next one is just to enable the legislation to move forward in a faster, more efficient fashion.
I just want to talk a little bit more about the financial side of this. Within 5 years, Greece will have paid more interest and fees than the sum of the bailout combined. How can the Greek economy possibly grow under such stress? What is the government telling the people?
It can't possibly grow. I mean, what are they telling the people? They're telling the people the same pack of lies that you'd expect anyone to tell in passing these measures. What could you possibly expect? You can't expect any truth. I mean, the government is under an extreme amount of pressure from the Troika, and they're also working for whatever other interests they're interested in. But primarily, they're under a great deal of pressure from the EU and the IMF to pass these measures. These are clearly unpopular measures by everyone in the society, not just people in the public sector. I've made that point before. These austerity measures include privatizations that are liquidations of corporate and national wealth and resources. They're collateralization of bonds. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what exactly you wanted me to drive at, but
I'd just like to follow up on that. Are you saying that Greece has been sacrificed to maintain confidence, in fact, in the euro?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you could call this confidence for a European currency. The euro hasn't really crashed as a result of these riots, but it's a catch-22 with the euro, because on the one hand you have they're saying that if you monetize, if you bail out more countries, if you hurt the integrity of the euro as a monetary currency, then you'll save it. But at the same time, if you do that, you're not exactly putting faith in investors to hold euros. So, in my opinion, the euro is a flawed currency, and I don't see how whether you bail out Greece or you don't bail out Greece is going to save the euro. Maybe the only thing that can save the euro is if, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to look back for a second. While it was clear what's at stake, the government has made a point of ignoring public opinion, as we can see on the streets now in Athens. What did the protests hope to achieve? I mean, where did they think this is going to end?
You know, I have to be very honest with you. I think my experience has been being at a number of these rallies, both during the day and at night, and experiencing this violence firsthand. I would tell you that, first and foremost, there's just a rage. There's an anger. And that is what you're seeing manifest here. There isn't necessarily a common sense or some sort of strategy that you're seeing implemented right now. It's a lot of rage. You can see it in the people here. A lot of the people that are doing the violence right now are young people. But behind the young people, there's a middle class, and there's even people across the society that are in support of voting against these measures, because these measures are seen as an affront to the Greek nation, which is what they are. And we've seen this before. There's nothing new here. It's not like Greeks have to stretch back into deep history to figure this out. We can look at Latin America, and we can look at countries all over the world where the IMF has come in and sacrificed and plundered the nation for corporate consolidation. And that's what this is. And Greek people are smart. They're not stupid, and they understand that.
All right, Dimitri Kofinas, live from Athens, financial journalist. Thank you very much for your input. Be careful out there.